Welcome to VPG's Virtual Water Cooler Chat Podcast, a platform that features professionals across a variety of industries and promotes growth mindset principles with a central pillar of championing the achievements of women. Our conversations explore a wide spectrum of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, creating a vibrant mosaic that enriches our collective understanding and strengthens our commitment to growth and empowerment. Today, Ashley Chung, founder of VPG, is speaking with Dr. Sudipta Dasmohapatra, Senior Associate Dean of MBA Programs and Professor of the Practice in Business Analytics in the Marketing area at Georgetown's McDonough School of Business. Dr. Dasmohapatra brings extensive expertise in data science, launching Georgetown's Masters in Business Analytics program in 2021 and working on several initiatives, including the most recent Women's Circle in the MBA program called EmpowerHER. Prior to Georgetown, she served as faculty at Duke University and NC State, as well as on the board of the Statistical and Mathematical Sciences Institute. Let's get started.
Hi, Sudipta. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ashley. Nice to meet you and nice to see you here. Doing great.
Yes, I even matched my suit with the virtual background sofa.
Mine matches a little bit.
Yeah, you matched the Georgetown University. Thank you so much for getting on the virtual water cooler chat. And we have a lot of topics to talk about today. So I am so intrigued by your background, your credential, and all the programs, women in STEM. So would you mind sharing your story and 2 fun facts about you?
Thank you for this opportunity. And, my story is pretty unique, I would say. I grew up in India in a family of 4 girls, which was very exciting. And after completing my undergraduate degree in India in physics and education, I actually did a management master's. And then I worked for a year in nonprofit, organization and got some really great field experience, following which I came to the US, to Penn State, go Penn State, for my PhD degree. And, after my PhD degree, I actually worked in consulting and moved to academia, I would say about 17 years ago from consulting. And, we're talking about my story. And so a lot of people know me as a professor in business analytics and with a bent in marketing. My PhD focus was in marketing, but I've worked with numbers, data, and analytics since 2007, since I was in academia, but also in the consulting world when I was there for 3 years. After having moved to NC State in 2007, I have been at actually multiple universities and programs. I came to Georgetown from NC State and Duke, and I launched the Masters in Business Analytics program here in 2020, COVID year. You all remember that very well, I'm sure. It was quite difficult, at that time with you don't know people at a new organization and you have to set yourself up. But thankfully, the dean of the business school and the vice dean, they were very good at creating connections all virtually. And I actually moved into the senior associate dean's role in the MBA program about 2 years ago, and I'm really enjoying it here. I love working with diverse faculty, staff, and solving problems, doing research and teaching. I wish I had a lot of time to myself where I could build AI models myself and see them perform, but I don't have that kind of time to do that. Someday. 2 fun things about me. I'm a foodie. I love to travel. And when I do travel, then I like to do food tours in new cities and towns. I feel that that's one of the best ways to really know about the town. You're with a new group of people and you're trying different types of food. So I love that. My second fun fact, I would say, is I have a recording studio at home. And some days it is very scarce. Doesn't happen many times, but you will catch me holed inside that room for hours trying to perfect a vocal classical music. So I'm really excited about that. It's also a way for me to just get away and step away from what I do normally.
So that's how you de-stress from analytics.
And that is right. Exactly right. I mean, music is a lot of analytics too,
Yes, exactly. I used to have a business law professor. He has passed since then, but he had such an amazing voice. And then he used to go to the Berkshire Choral Festival in, I think it's Massachusetts. And he has actually sung with the civic choir at the Vatican City.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that is a different level altogether, Ashley.
Well, I guess he had international business law to think about. He had to go and do something else, right? So that was really cool. You already talked about your cultural background, you're originally from India. Can you share what inspired you to pursue a STEM background like in business analytics? And how did it lead your journey into the Georgetown's McDonough School of Business?
I think that's a great question. I kind of shared a little bit of my story here, but I didn't come to the US for a PhD in analytics or anything close to that even. I came for my PhD in the marketing area. And as a PhD student in marketing, I needed some statistics and quantitative, models as part of my coursework because, I was going to be working a lot with data. So in my master's program in India, I actually didn't like our quantitative analytics, and it was a statistics course. Maybe it was the way it was taught or whatever. So I was really dreading my first statistics course at Penn State. But I can tell you that the faculty member that I worked with who taught us the Introduction to Statistics course was fantastic. And it really set the foundation for me to take a bunch of other courses in this area, related to data and analytics. We were not talking about AI at that time, at least. I know that. So I just kind of, delved into that, and I took more courses than I needed in my program. I was very close to getting even a master's in statistics. I didn't get that at the end, but I took tool courses like Stata, Minitab, SPSS. SAS was big at that time. Nobody was talking about Python and R or Tableau, that kind of visualization even. But really that course started my passion with data. I took a bunch of theoretical and applied courses, and I really, really, really loved it. So that was, I would say, my foundation. And then when I got into consulting following my PhD, my job there as an associate statistician, you can say, was to collect data. I was an associate quantitative analyst, basically. So my job was to collect data, do detailed analysis, and predictive modeling was big, right? As well as visualizations and reports for a wide variety of clients in a variety of industries, but mostly in retail, in healthcare, and on the financial services side. So after consulting, I joined NC State and worked in the area of marketing for a year. And then a colleague told me about a new institute that had just started at NC State. That was the Institute for Advanced Analytics. In 2007, they started a master's program in advanced analytics. I mean, that time, right? It was the pioneer innovative program. And they were looking for faculty to teach in the program. So I met with the director, Dr. Michael Rapa, who was really a visionary in this area. And he immediately recruited me after one conversation to come and teach in that program. And I worked there as a faculty for 10 years before I actually moved to Duke. And at Duke, I worked jointly as, the director of the Master's in Statistics program. And I also worked as a faculty at the Fuqua School of Business in their Business Analytics and Health Analytics program. So, really like my journey has been through, through consulting and through academia, but a lot of it was my own passion, and I wanted to do something in this area. And I really wasn't looking to move to Washington, D.C. We had a great life in North Carolina. However, it so happened that my husband was thinking of a transition in his job, and we had discussed moving closer to our family in DC. And so I just started looking for positions in LinkedIn. And the first position that I saw was the Georgetown position as the director of the Master's in Business Analytics. And the rest is history. I talked to somebody, they asked me to apply. I applied for the program. I came in here for the interview, and I got the job. I was offered the position actually on the second day of my interview. You know how faculty interviews go, they are like really long. And I met with Dean Almeida, again, wonderful person. And again, rest is history. I knew that I was going to come to this position. I loved everything about Georgetown, and I'm so glad I made the move. So here I am.
Yay. Now, I think we have a mutual acquaintance, Yolani.
Oh, Yolani, yes. Yolani
She's
Bullock.
a good friend. Yes, she's so
amazing.
Awesome. Yes, and she's doing great things, and I
love her.
She is
Absolutely.
so amazing.
Yes, her book is called Lennox, right?
She had 2 books now.
Yeah, 2 books. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
The second book came
The
out.
first one is Lennox Takes Flight, and then the second one that just released this late last year was Little Lennox Takes Flight.
Yes. Yeah.
So
absolutely amazing person. I love her.
Yes. Actually, I went to her book launch, supported her because I believe in her and what she does. Got some really cool cookies that she ordered. And met the whole family and all her fans. And so that was really amazing. I was like, I wonder if Sudipta know Yolani. But yes, that's cool. Now, can we talk about the vision behind you starting the MBA EmpowerHER program?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that this was really something that came about when we were having conversations with alumni. And so I just want to kind of talk about EmpowerHER first, and then I'll tell you about how that, my journey about thinking about that.
This is your show.
Yeah, so really, like, EmpowerHER is one of my passion projects, and it's a new initiative that we started at the McDonough School of Business in May of 2024. And the idea and the goal with that is to really create meaningful connections and opportunities for our alumni. We were looking at how do we get alumni to be connected with each other, people that graduate, how do they find jobs? How do they talk about what are some of the difficulties that they are having, and then how do they network with each other? So this is focused completely on women at this time, but we really want to open it up to women and allies, because we have men that also have their wives and they're dealing with, their kids, their daughters, as well as other women that they're dealing with within their companies, right? And so it's important to get their perspective as well. So it's an initiative that we designed that can support and empower women business leaders at Georgetown McDonough, and especially the alumni. This is focusing on the alumni right now, in the MBA program. And then we're looking at people across their career journey once they graduate, and our young alums 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, right? Because everybody has different needs at different life cycle stages. So one of the things that we really are trying to do now is to expand this to incorporate programs that can help our current students as well. And so our goal is to really create an ecosystem for the MBA women alumni and current students to build meaningful connections with each other, to bridge the gap between successful women leaders and our current students that get to learn from them, get the skills and tools that are necessary for them to become successful, right? I would say both personally and professionally. So you might ask, why EmpowerHER, right? I mean, I was sitting with our MBA board, which is basically called the MBA Alumni Advisory Council. It's really a council of 40 people. And we talk about different types of challenges in the business field, right? And one of the things that I was talking about is how we see a small percentage of women in the STEM fields and also in the business fields, right? When they're coming in, especially in our MBA program, we have between 30 to 35% of women, and we saw a little bit of a declining trend, and so we were thinking, how do we improve it? So we looked at other peer schools and what they are doing, and so one of the things that we realized is that we need to set up like women's circles where we are talking about our own unique challenges, like gender specific challenges in business fields, right? We have that. Women take breaks in their career, they come back, they are caregivers, right? And so they have different challenges. And research also shows that women are generally underpaid in these fields and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that with this initiative, we are able to build confidence, we are able to encourage leadership, we are able to foster a sense of belongingness, right? We are able to equip women with the tools and skills and resources that is necessary for them to make strategic business decisions and to be members of a thriving community professionally. So I just want to give you some data. We started with mere 6 alumni in the EmpowerHER program in end of April 2024. We are currently at 180 Georgetown women alumni that have signed up to support and create circles and lead in major cities across the US and also internationally. And my goal is that we keep this momentum alive. We take this again further to help our current students to again bridge the gap, like I was saying, and to train them on and learn the skills to negotiate well, to have executive presence, and that kind of stuff. So very excited about that. If we can make an impact on the current women and future, women business leaders, then I think we have made a point there with that.
Are you aware of the CHIPS network? Off the top of my head, I do not remember exactly what it stands for, but it's basically women in STEM circle, and that is mostly in technology and in law. So I will send you information so that you could expand circle. They have different network chapters and really, really a thriving community. They have conferences and sometimes networking meetings. So that would be really interesting for you and your circle to
I like that you said that, because one of the major things about this particular program is we do different types of networking events in different parts of the country right now. Also internationally, we will be planning some. So we did 2 events in our inaugural few months. We did one in the DMV area with Lisa Meyer, who is the CFO of Marigold, who was our speaker in the DMV area. And then in the New York City tri-state area, we did an event with 4 very powerful women leaders from the New York City area that were from different industries, and we were so excited that we are able to continue to do this in the spring as well. So in the spring, in March, we are going to have another event in New York, and then in April we are going to have another event in DMV, and then we're going to expand and do these events in Boston, Chicago, Miami, San Francisco area, and then some of these other areas that are our alumni hotspots. And so really excited about that. The alumni have raised their hands and are leading this. We have national leaders, we have regional leaders that are leading some of these different types of events. And I also want to thank our leadership and our administration at McDonough for helping us with the funding to do these kind of things. So really, really excited about that.
So I just CHIPS is for Empowering Women in Tech and IP Law. And CHIPS is a nonprofit professional organization. I'm going to email you the link later. CHIPS is a nonprofit professional organization that advances and connects women in technology, law, and policy. We accelerate innovation through diversity of thought, participation, and engagement. So
fantastic.
That is something, probably definitely need to look up, because they have quite a bit of a circle. So very influential, very powerful. So the top list is women, but a lot of women in law, especially in STEM law.
That sounds wonderful. I'd love to connect.
Yeah, there's also another organization that I'm a member of, and it's called Empower Women That Rock. It's also a nonprofit. I just love when people actually empower each other. And that's kind of how you expand your circle,
Exactly.
It's almost like between the scarcity versus the abundance mindset. So I really like that, when we expand the circle, we expand our influence. So the Empower Women That Rock is a nonprofit. It's not mostly in law, but they have people from various industries and different sector. And the founder, I think she's in private equity, and she's like a financial advisor, and members are by referral only, and somehow I got referred.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how that goes. So I've actually been very impressed. There were a lot of programs that educate women about retirement, investment. Unless you're in that specific field, I think a lot of women, even professional women, are not necessarily privy to that particular network or mindset. So the founder is actually doing a lot of work to increase the knowledge, because if you don't know, ignorance is definitely not a bliss.
No, but that sounds great. And that's our goal. Part of our goal is to do that, right? How do you create executive presence, and how do you have difficult conversations? How do you come back to work after you've taken a break? All of those things are important for us. How do you conduct yourself when you have a room where you are the only woman leader, right? Those are the type of things that we have to prepare our students with. And if you can do that in the right way, by providing the right kind of mentoring, maybe shadowing opportunities with women leaders that have been successful, that is basically our goal for our current students as well.
This is a little bit backward. I should have asked you this question before, right when we started the chat. Why did you say yes to me for this interview?
Interesting, because number one, when you indicated that you wanted to talk about EmpowerHER, this again is my passion pet project this year, and I want to make this sustainable. I really believe in this, and I know that if provided the right resources, I think we have the capability of really making a difference and making a change in the lives of our female students. If I think about myself, when I came from India, I was never asking any questions. I did not have confidence. I wasn't out and about and talking to people and networking in the right way. But I got a lot of opportunities in my life with the right kind of mentorship. And I think that makes a big difference in our growth as women leaders. And I really do feel that so many times there's so much potential in women. We're just not able to leverage it properly and harness it properly. And so I really believe in EmpowerHER. And I want to tell our story to everyone. Anybody that is listening who is a Georgetown Hoya would want to join this group. We would love to have them. And especially if you are from the MBA program, we have a special place for you in our hearts. And so absolutely come in and join us. And so I want this group to grow, and I want to make sure that we are creating these connections and networks and really helping each other, be there for each other whenever we need.
Thank you. I wanted to share on the 21st first, I
Mhm.
had an interview with 3 Gen Zers, and they're
Wow.
all paralegals. That was so interesting. And one of the things that I wanted to say is about their mindset. I mean, there's a lot of negative press about Gen Z in terms of the work ethics and
Right.
everything. I think that people cannot be generally stereotyped.
Absolutely not
And
generalizable.
absolutely not, right? So I have my share of issues with like Gen Z workers, but not all of them are like that. And also given the right guidance. If we haven't like guided them or if we haven't given the right opportunity, then I don't know that we are actually preparing them for being leaders in the future. So I think
Right.
that we have
Right.
our obligation as people that have gone through that particular journey. One thing that I asked 3 paralegals. Originally, I asked one. And I asked this particular person, I said, hey, would you like to be on the podcast? Because I would like to have a Gen Z voice. Without thinking, he was like, can I get my 2 peers to also join? I'm like,
Oh, how nice is that?
I'm just thinking about like, how do I split the screen, right?
Oh, yeah. Between the three of them.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, easy. We will have 4 people and it will be a Brady bunch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that Brady Bunch is kind of a concept foreign to the younger people.
Yeah. They
So I said,
probably don't
please
know about it.
Google Brady Bunch. So basically Foursquare. And we did our prep meeting in October of
Mhm.
2024.
Right.
And then they were thinking of talking to them. I looked them up on LinkedIn and see the connection. I had 15 minutes to kind of figure out exactly what am I going to say to these people for the prep. And I met them in person one time because I visited their office in New York. And I was just so impressed.
Impressed by this group. Yeah.
Yeah, because one, people generally do not share opportunities like this. And I think that this is pretty common in the Gen Z in the way that
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
lot of people referring to each other. So during the interview, one of the things that I asked, because the person that I asked was more outspoken, very dynamic, very charming, charismatic. The other two more quiet, but they're very substantive. One is almost like a philosopher. And then the other is an Asian woman. I think there might be a little bit implicit bias in me. So, oh, okay, I'll just ask the outspoken one. But I'm so glad that he actually was like, can I get my friends there? I'm like, okay, we'll have a
Yeah.
go.
Right.
And so when we did the recording, I was totally going to do like the Zoom and split it into the grid of the gallery view. And right at the beginning, I got on, they're all in a conference room. I'm like, how am I going to split this one? You know? I was like,
You
oh,
have to split the screen. You have like all three sitting there, right?
I mean, that's the monkey wrench that I wasn't prepared for.
Yeah.
So the young woman was like, actually, if you give us 10 minutes to troubleshoot, we'll make this work. In my mind, I was like, okay, I got that line. Chop, chop, get it going. That's how I am. I worked with lawyer for 25 years. Money, time
Yeah.
is money, right? This is like my non-comfort zone. I am giving up control to 3 young people to basically taking over the podcast. I
Take
was like,
over the podcast with you.
anxiety is just like coming off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
how did
then
it go?
I was like, oh my God, I don't know. But this is literally what it is. It's like, I don't know. And then at some point, I was like, you know what? I give up. You guys take over. And if it doesn't work, we go back to the way that I am supposed to do. You go back to your respective thing. It worked. And the technology was so cool because the conference room camera actually allow you to split into a grid of 3. So
Mhm.
they call themselves the tribunal.
One thing that the Gen Z is really great at is to really put the
Technology.
technology into place very, very quickly.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how to do this. You guys take care of it. If it doesn't work, we'll go back to the old way. But if it works, great. Let's go forward. So it
Yeah.
actually does really well. I said, is this the owl? Because they were telling me about another technology. I was like, no. So apparently, since October, they have been thinking about how to sit in the same room to do this. And you know
Oh,
how
wow.
Gen Z are like instant gratification? For me, everything is scheduled.
Yeah. Right.
So
Right.
from October to January, that's like a lot of months, a lot of minutes that they have been waiting for.
Thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They were so articulate. I was like, oh my God, they're more articulate than I
Right.
can ever want to be, right?
Yeah.
And they know what they want. I just want to make sure that people know that not everyone needs to be fired. They actually gave really, really good, like respond, very insightful. So when I asked the person that, why did you want to refer the other people instead of just you being in the spotlight? He was like, I think it's important to have shared opportunities. Very concise, to the point, and really, really needed,
That's
so
great.
I wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah, of course. I think that's great because we have a discussion here all the time thinking about, has the next generation changed, and they are less engaged, and they want a lot of flexibility. They're very digital, but there are lots of things that is happening with them, right? We never give them kudos for all the wonderful things that they are actually doing and that they're capable of as well.
Yeah, because I have like 3 to 4 Gen Zers that actually work with me in my company. So I'm obviously a women business owner. I used to be a patent litigation paralegal slash case manager for
Right.
about 20 plus years. And then I started my own company also around the same time that you started your program. So I started my
Right.
company in January 2020, right before COVID. My dad actually passed in 2017.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. I work in litigation, so my life was very hectic, a lot of overtime, a lot of very demanding deadlines. So when he passed, I was not really sure how to deal with the emotion. So the best thing that I knew how was avoidance.
Right, right. We as individuals and human beings, we tend to, in our own ways, right, react to things differently in different ways. And everybody has a different way of kind of acceptance of what's going on in our lives.
Yeah, so I did about 2 years of just like double down and started working more so that I don't have to think about it. And then eventually I got myself to be pretty burned out, and I just wasn't, I just knew that I could not do this anymore, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly
What you would
where.
like to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, other than filing, what else do I know? I mean, I know a lot of stuff, but at the time, I didn't know. So I talked to another woman business owner, and she also had a similar experience in terms of burnout, and then started her own company, also consulting. So she was so kind, and this is why Empower Her is so important. She was so kind, and when she talked to me, she didn't know me. We have like a mutual acquaintance, and when I talk to someone in confidence, it's like, you know what, I really need to think about what is my next step. And the person was like, I know just the right person to talk to you. And this person has happened to be a guy. Is that I know just the right person that you should talk to. So I talked to the person, and I still give her a lot of credit to the fact that she talked to me, and I'm like, I don't know that I can really continue. But I don't know what else I can do. She goes like, what do you mean you don't know what you can do? You've done this for like years. You have like so much knowledge. And part of the problem with, I think, women, it doesn't even matter how accomplished we are. We have that imposter syndrome that is just overshadowing the confidence. And this is one of the things that I really hope to do, because I'm still kind of like recovering from a lot of this, but I think that it is so important to let people know that there's people that believe in them.
Yes,
Because before they get to the point of believing themselves, I think the circle of network, women or otherwise, need to be there to guide them through it and talk to them candidly. When things go right, praise them. When things go wrong, you need to have that conversation.
I wish that EmpowerHER was here, there when you were kind of going through that, and we could provide you with the network and the support, because I really do think, like, for example, one of our speakers kind of talked about how difficult it is to have difficult conversations, right? And really acceptance and the confidence that you need, that you just talked about, those type of things. I think especially when you're really down, or when you're really thinking of like of doing something different, all of these require good mentorship, having the right kind of network, or even like people that you can reach out to, right? Like you said, it may be women or men, but if it's women, they may have similar circumstances and they may give you guidance about that, right? And so it's so important for us to do that. And I think that these kind of initiatives and programs like EmpowerHER can really help with that. Like, again, like I said, can create a really powerful ecosystem where we don't hesitate to reach out to someone because we don't know, right, what they have gone through, but really, like, with confidence we reach out to someone and have these kind of intimate one-on-one conversations or one-on-many conversations, even in a small group, where people can share about how they have dealt with similar situations and what they have done, and then provide some kind of feedback to people that are going through it, in order to make the headway into their next series of careers that they are interested in, or the next series of personal aspects of their life that they can go on to do. So very important.
Very important. I cannot agree with you more. One of my team member, her name is Sydney, and she is a data analytic major, undergrad, just graduated from the junior tech. So I got her involved with like the Bar Association on our committee, and we're doing report, and I'm actually giving her exposure to IP attorneys that are like partners and allow her to basically network with them and working on the report and be able to use her data analytic and her math technology skills, which I cannot do. I'm like, can you please do the
fantastic.
pool?
That is great. That is awesome. I think that is wonderful to even like connect with other people, right? We may not have the skills, but we can help connect people to others that have the skills to maybe help. I think that is really great.
Now, one of the core value of my business is actually I do virtual paralegal consultancy, and basically I support like patent practitioners filing with the USPTO, the United States Patent Trademark Office. So there are different people with different interests. So to the extent possible, I try to match them with the interests. So some people want to go the pre-law route, the legal route. And so I would just give them like maybe filing support, that type of training. And then there's also other people that are like, I didn't even know there's a majors called kinetic imaging. So it's new media. And so I have people that actually do really well in terms of creative media. And then I have like people that are computer science, so they'll help me with like the background of preparing like our on-demand courses. Just a lot of things that I didn't necessarily used to have that luxury or discretion. Now that I do, I really trying to make sure that other people are actually having some guidance while building my business. So I think that has been very fruitful in many ways, sometimes also frustrating, but it balances out,
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's never going to be all straight line, right? The straight path. I mean, there's going to be twists and turns, and we have to learn how to deal with them.
Yes. So what motivated you to champion diversity in mathematical sciences? And how have you seen diversity contribute to the field of this data analytics?
In so many years of my academic career in data and analytics, I basically saw that the percentage of underrepresented groups, I have to say, was quite low in these graduate programs. And I want to play a role in bridging this gap. And so as faculty at NC State, I was invited to be in the board of a Mathematical Sciences Institute, which is an NSF-funded institute located in Durham, North Carolina. So when they invited me there, they said, we need a candidate that can help us grow the diversity side of this. And we want you to speak with our students, and our postdocs in order to talk about like how does diversity impact this field. And so I know that diversity can come in a variety of forms, right? It does not have to be a particular group, but it can be just a diversity of background that, a majority of our MBA students, for example, bring into the programs. It could be diversity of thoughts. It is diversity of experiences that people are bringing, perspectives from a variety of different nations and other places, as well as from their readings and their backgrounds and their majors and whatnot. I believe that math and data, right, and analytics by extension of that should be accessible to everyone. At least the access needs to be there. So that is the first thing, right? And we all know that if you have diversity in a team, the team is so much more than just the sum of the parts, right, then they are able to generate more creative insights. They are able to come together and approach problems and provide solutions where they are able to ask different questions and be more robust in their approaches and methodologies that they come up with, right? So that is what like really was a motivation for me, and I got the platform there with the institute to actually do some diversity programming. And really that was a big motivation for me. If I, kind of talk about in the area of analytics and AI today, right, there's a lot that we can do with diversity because it can help make us aware of the different biases that we have with data, for example, or analytics or interpretation. In our interpretation, many times we have biases. So when we have people with different perspectives, they can come together and they can talk about these and they can at least think about these things, right? If you look at criminal justice data, for example, it may have bias. Healthcare data may have bias. Maybe there's a certain group that always has had a certain type of problem or a certain type of diagnosis, and we are only looking at that as one of the major inputs, then it's a problem because we may have other groups that may have that same diagnosis, but we are missing out on them when we are using machine learning and predictive modeling there. So, it really means catching the biases sooner, finding new ways to interpret results, and really creating a more homogeneous group to think about these things that we might overlook if we don't have these kind of diverse perspectives. So seeing firsthand how different types of diverse perspectives can really enrich our conversation, can lead to better outcomes for both individuals and the society. I mean, that really motivates me when I think about diversity, whether it's in mathematical sciences or other places, but so much more than in the STEM than ever before.
Wow, that is such a comprehensive and amazing answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, I already know that in your spare time, you go into your sound studio to listen to classical music. Are there anything else that you do?
Yeah, you talked about the complexity of data analytics, and I would say that life is as complex as data analytics. Balance is hard to achieve in life, right?
Yes.
I would say I try to prioritize things rather than balancing. And when I am at home, and I have free time, I love to cook different types of dishes that generally, try to make Indian and or Asian dishes, but I have also tried other things, and I look up YouTube and I try something new, and it's great. My husband and I love to do that. And one of the things that is really, really something that has been fun after moving to Arlington, in this area, is the access to a lot of really great restaurants. I live only about 3 miles from DC, walking, and nearly every week we walk to a new restaurant. We walk about 5 to 6 miles and we'll go to a restaurant, have like a nice drink and some good food. And it's a really great foodie adventure for me. I also enjoy, I would say, just singing to myself to unwind. And of course, spending time with family and friends. We have lots of them in this area, and that keeps me very grounded, I would say. So, no matter how busy things get, carving out some moments to relax is really important for everyone. And I try to do that as well.
That's awesome. To close, what advice would you offer like young women who may be intimidated by STEM careers?
It's a very interesting question. I was, once, as I shared my story, kind of intimidated by quantitative courses, and I think it just needed a little bit of push and the right mentor and faculty member to move me in this direction. And I would say that the first thing that is really important is to seek out mentors and role models. Find other women in STEM, whether it's online, on campus, through professional networks, through somebody who can inspire you, and reach out for advice and insights on how to navigate your academic and your career paths, right? STEM related. So one thing that I want to say is do not hesitate to ask and seek mentorship. I always tell my students this: if you don't ask, you don't get it. You will never get it, right? Because people don't know about it. And so I always vouch for the fact that each of us needs to have 5 or 6 really great mentor and a supportive community around us that we can reach out to when we want to celebrate, when we are down, like in our lives. And so it's the same thing as with STEM careers as well. Build a supportive community, join clubs and local meetups, conferences, online forums. I still try to do that as the area in AI is really expanding so much and things are changing by the minute. We as faculty and we as deans have to be a part of this and get to know things so that we can bring that into our classrooms and into our programs. And so I join many online forums. I'll be listening to podcasts and other kinds of things all the time. And these are the spaces where we can exchange feedback, receive feedback, feedbacks, give our ideas, feel encouraged. And so that is really, really important. And in addition to that, I would say a strong peer group is very important as well, especially for students, right? Having a peer group that can tackle the challenges together is great. It's very strengthening. Some of the other things that I want to say is in this field, we now have a lot of online resources. And so leveraging these online resources is really great. Platforms like your DataCamp and Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, Code Academy, Khan Academy, right? I mean, you name it, edX. They offer lots of free and low-cost courses that students can take that will help them build a little bit of the skills and tools. But also, with that, it can genuinely spark interest. It can genuinely build confidence in them to go talk to somebody else about this. And then lastly, I would say celebrate small wins. So if you are solving a very tricky problem or even completing a project, whether it's in the classroom or outside as a professional, right? Even, asking a good question, acknowledge that as a progress, acknowledge that as learning, right? There's nothing as failure. And so over time, all these small successes are going to compound into something big and will help them achieve something big. And one thing that one of my EmpowerHER speakers kind of talked about was show up. Just show up, whether it's to a networking event that is in STEM, it's a social event where people are talking about STEM. It is a difficult conversation where we may have failed before, right? Show up where we have people who are in STEM fields. If you are there and if you network with the right people, it is going to give us courage and motivation to move forward in this field. So those are some of the things that I wanted to talk about, but really it's all about mentoring and supportive community that you can get around you.
When the lay professor that I told you about earlier, one of the things that he keep trying to kind of hammer into my head was nothing venture, nothing gain. Mm-hmm. You don't ask, you don't know. And also, I think people need to learn to take the falls and not necessarily see it as a failure.
Exactly.
But using it as a stepping stone to sort of like, okay, well, I get rejected this time. What am I going to do so that I don't get rejected next time?
Yes, of course.
Or maybe the 50 times later. I don't know. I didn't really realize how impactful that is. I'm Chinese American woman. So obviously that is nothing venture, nothing gain is not instilled in my culture, nor my upbringing. So I literally have someone that drilled that into my head. He taught me two things. The first thing I do pretty well. The second one I don't is nothing venture, nothing gain. And the second one is be a duck, let it roll off your back. Don't take things so personally.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think that he would be probably smiling from the heaven and know that I am actually doing really well. On that note, I wanted to thank you, Sudipta, for all the insights that you have shared today. I hope that you had a good time too.
Yeah, I learned a lot about some of the things that you talked about and how you have really kind of mentored people and are doing that as well. And so very, very glad to talk to you and really getting to know you. I hope we can meet in person sometime.
Oh, we are not that far. I'm only in Chantilly. So I'm down sometime and we will have a bite together because you're a foodie and I love to eat. So
there you go. We find something common to do together.